And on today's episode of Get a Better Broadcast Podcast and Voice Over Voice, first of all, I'm going to introduce myself and say hello. I'm Peter Stewart, Tweeter Stewart on Twitter, TWEETERSTEWART. And then I'm going to say what's going to be coming up in today's episode. Yeah, we're on our Diction-ary of voice, our A to Z. We're going to be talking about dubbing and dry mouth, and starting off with dry audio. So what is dry audio? Now, yesterday we talked about dipping and ducking, when you fade sound underneath a track or another piece of audio that's at a higher volume. Let's just remind ourselves what that was, because it leads quite nicely into today's explanation of dry audio. So dipping and ducking is when you have some music and you're dipping it slightly, you're reducing the volume of that so you can better be heard over it. Or you may have another sound. So you may have some music but want to play the sound of a car starting over the top of it. And that's actually the clue. Over the top of it. Not at the same level, because if it was the same level, you're going to have two bits of audio all sounding the same level. It's going to be difficult for you to identify as a listener what that is, and also what story is being told. What am I supposed to be listening to? Am I supposed to be identifying the sound of a car or the music that's going on at the same time? I'm not entirely sure. For example, if you've got a bit of drama going on and you've got the sound of a car running, but also you've got some people talking as well in the car. Well, hold on, I can't hear the people talking and identify what it is exactly they're saying, because the sound of the car or the train or the bit of machinery, whatever it is too loud. Okay, so here's our bit of music that we used yesterday. And as I said, if I'm talking at the same volume as I was before, then you can't actually hear me terribly well. You can't actually distinguish what it is I'm trying to say. It's going to be a bit of a battle for your ears. But if I dip or duck, I said if I dip or duck the music, then you can hear me over the top of the music. It settles in, it nests in quite well. So I've dipped the music. So that's dipping or ducking, to fade sound underneath a track or other piece of audio, usually speech but not always, that is at a higher volume. So my voice is now at a higher volume than the soundtrack is, than the actual music is. So what, Peter, pray, is dry audio? Well, if we get rid of that music completely, now my voice is dry audio. So voice recording without any music underneath. If you'd think, wouldn't you, that if I introduce the music again, that this would be wet audio. That would kind of make sense. I've never heard anyone call mixed audio wet audio at all. You just refer to it as mixed. But yeah, it would kind of make sense. But you've got dry and you've got mixed. But anyway, this is dry and this is mixed. Okay, so what is a dry mouth? Well, literally having little saliva in your mouth. So that makes talking difficult. We've talked about saliva before. As we come up to episode 1000, we've talked about all of these things before, some of which in some detail. And the usefulness of saliva. And essentially it makes your tongue work and your lips work and everything contributing to making you be able to form the different word sounds in your mouth, putting your tongue in the position, moving your lips into the right position to make those word sounds. It's all very, very important stuff. So I was going to say the more saliva you got, the better. That's not strictly true, because otherwise you'd be swallowing all of the time to get rid of the excess saliva, which can, of course, come if you've just had a Haribo or something like that, a Tangfastic, which is going to be making your mouth water. Remember the opal fruits? They're called Starburst now, but when I was a lad, they were called opal fruits. The small, square, chewy fruit-flavoured sweets, and their slogan was made to make your mouth water. And they did, because they were very tangy. And you don't want that when you're going to be going into a voiceover session, or if you're going to be speaking on the radio or a podcast, for obvious reasons. But you do want moisture in your mouth. How are you building up that moisture in your mouth? Not too much, not too little. Well, first of all, you want systemic hydration. So all of your body is nicely hydrated, but also topical hydration as well, sipping water throughout the session, while records are playing if you're a radio DJ, between bulletins if you're a newsreader, something of that nature. So that's dry mouth for you. And back in the day, in other episodes, we've actually looked at what saliva is, what that chemical makeup is, and how it helps and how it's produced and so on in your body, in your mouth. Dubbing. Yeah, dub. Finally today, to record or re-record audio and sync it to a video which shows someone talking and whose sound is muted. Yes, you've got a bit of film perhaps, got some video there, you've got someone talking, you can't hear them, but you are dropping your voice over where their voice should be. So dubbing is used to re-record maybe a translated soundtrack in another language for a different market, also to replace the original spoken word recording in the original language and by the original actor, to replace audio that was poorly recorded on set. There may have been a technical problem, late script change, to remove a swear word for a different audience and so on. So you, the actor, on video, that was you recording it in the field, live as it were, on celluloid, and then you need to change a word, so they get you back into the studio to dub over your original soundtrack. It's a bit messy, it's a little bit difficult because they've got to get that background noise as well, but leave that to the audio engineers, and you've got to replace one word or a phrase, could be a script change or something like that. And we've spoken about this before a few days ago, I seem to recall. The spoken word of any dub has got to obviously sync with the mouth movements of the original performance. And that's obviously quite difficult for a translated script because you could be talking in a different language. Yeah, we spoke about this a few days ago, didn't we? But the timings of each line have certainly got to be as close as possible to the original, because obviously you can't stop talking with your language, with your overdub, and then have the original actor's mouth continue speaking for another couple of seconds. It's out of sync, it feels awkward, it destroys the pace of the film or whatever it is that you're watching. Tomorrow in the show, we are moving on to ease, eye-brain-mouth coordination, emphasis lists, and ellipsis, as Get a Better Broadcast Podcast and Voice Over Voice continues. Where are we? From London. I'm Peter Stewart.